Hello, welcome to another week on the run. So this is week commencing 27th of September 2021. It's a quick one on my fuel card prices. Bit of bad news this week really, but with what's going on, maybe it's to be expected. So UK fuels is 109.45 this week, and a BWOC or block card is 109.85. 0.81, sorry. So they've both gone up between like 2 pence and 2.5 pence since last week. So I think it's all to do with this fuel shortage stuff, or shortage at the pumps at least. They keep saying on the news there's no fuel shortage, there's plenty in the refineries, but who cares if it's at the refineries, you know what I mean? It's like saying, when there's a drought, saying, oh, don't worry, there's plenty of water, it's in the sea. It's like, you can't do anything with it. I don't get it. But anyway, so I'm going to be using the Shell card, which I get for UK fuels this week, which is 131.34. Because normally when it goes up, it like trends up slowly or goes down slowly, but like a jump of 2.5 pence is quite a big change in a week. Anyway, yeah, so it's actually Tuesday today, which is why I'm filming in the morning. Got a bit of time to kill before I make my first collection at 10. And I am in Banbury, sat in B&Q car park. So yesterday I started looking just before 10, say 10 to 10. Got a job pretty much straight away within 10 minutes. Just picking up in Hales Owen, long wheelbase job going to Oldham. Again, that was one I couldn't pick up till 11, but it was like a 25-minute drive anyway. So I thought I'll head down there. I had probably 3/4 of a tank full. I thought if I can top up somewhere, I'll do it. I mean, I know they're saying on the news don't top up unless you really need to, get below half, but I think for us guys as couriers, you know, it's how I earn my living. I need to just get fuel, you know what I mean? It's a bit of a concern really, because if I can't get fuel, I literally can't earn. It's not, some people, they can't get to work, or some people might have to work from home, where those who can, you can't work as a courier of no fuel. It's just not going to happen, is it? And on the way into Hales Owen, so about a 16-mile drive from home, there was a Shell garage there. Not too much of a queue, but people on the forecourt. Forecourt was open, pulled in, and the only fuel they had actually was standard diesel, so no premium diesel and no petrol at all. So that's what made it not so quiet, not so busy, because all the petrol cars pulling in were just pulling straight out. So I managed to top up there, 25 litres, so started the day pretty much with a full tank. Picked up the bits, got there slightly early, couldn't load early because there's another van was being loaded, and they did say when I spoke to the guy on the phone, he says, oh, might be handball, there's going to be handball at delivery. And there was a fair bit at delivery, and there was also at collection. It was about 90 boxes. And when I got there, they hadn't completely finished getting my order ready when I was there to collect. So they had to, I had to load one pallet's worth, probably about 45 boxes by myself, maybe a bit more. And then they helped me once they'd finished the other one. But it wasn't too bad. It's gone by 25 past, so it's like standard 30 minutes included. Couple of nice ladies there helping, well, say helping, but running the show really. Yeah, and then it's one of these jobs where, you know, all it's got on the CX job is Oldham, and then it says you'll get the exact address when you get there. So instead of being 100 miles, it's one of these slightly annoying ones. When I put it into Google Maps, it's 108 miles, and it wasn't really the way it's routed, because I think the thing was a bit further away than just the Oldham one, even though it was OL2, so I can't really work it out. But whichever way I went around the M60, M62, I looked at it, it was 108 miles. Got up there, bit of a strange one. It's delivered to a private house, and all these boxes, there was like 90 odd boxes, they had maybe 5 or 6 names, so they're all going to certain people, and it picked up from a market research company, and apparently what was in the boxes was cans of Coke, not Coca-Cola, another brand apparently. market research, so it's like they're tasters, so they must be doing, product changes, and I think these must be going from this house. A bit odd to live into a house, because when I was unloading the van to the house, the guy in the house was stacking them by who they were going to, and the lady there was taking them some from the house to her little car, tiny little car, and she was obviously going to deliver them from there to these people. So I had to unload myself essentially because they were doing other stuff really. Anyway, I got it tipped, and he did say ring about waiting time, not waiting time, handball. There wasn't a fair bit of handball, so I thought I'd ring him. And because it was extra miles, I thought if I just say extra tenner for handball, that can more cover the miles than anything. And he goes, "Is a tenner okay?" And he goes, "No, it's not, mate. Call it 20. Okay, mate. Yeah, you do get every now and then nice shippers, I think he was just glad he got the job covered, because he did say to me in the morning when he rang me about the job, he'd been let down by somebody who booked in over the weekend, but then phoned him in the morning, says he can't do it anymore, he hasn't got enough diesel. So yeah, so that was that job. Oldham, went to the supermarket, use the facilities. Pretty busy to feed up there. Now I'm thinking, do I stay local and just do sort of like some min charge jobs and just get a couple of them in and not use much diesel? But then a job pinged up to Banbury from the other side of Manchester, going to Banbury, and I quoted this 85p a mile including getting there, which worked out at £1 a mile loaded, 128 quid. Got the job. It was just some parts. I think the parts for like excavators and JCBs and all that kind of stuff, from some parts place down to some big distribution hub down here. One of his new ones just off the M40 in Banbury. Quick load, quick tip, bit of a nightmare on the way down because of M6 was long delays. So I sat that stationary for like 20 minutes maybe, and then lots of crawling and slow traffic. But the other side, the northbound side, was closed, probably closed by Stafford, I think. Couldn't see an accident, I didn't really notice. I just noticed there's no cars, and then it was totally coned off at the one junction. And then further on, south, towards Birmingham, there was a truck, which obviously, I think it had driven into the back of another truck pretty hard, because there's not a lot left of the cab. Right mess, so I hope the driver's alright. So yeah, that was it. Got down to here and tipped about 7 last night. Had some chips, just chilled out. But when I was sat in traffic for 20 minutes, I thought I can just sit here and just listen to the radio. Not going anywhere, people are out, the cars walking around. I'll check the feed for Banbury. You can't do it on the app. Went into the website on my phone, to Google Chrome or whatever on my phone. Log into a desktop version on the website. And then I searched loads in Banbury, and there's a job from Banbury in the morning going to Grimsby, long wheelbase job, 152 miles, and I thought, right, I'll go in 150, near damn it £1 a mile, and I'm going to be in Banbury anyway. And I got it. The only downside is I can't pick it up till 10, but then it's got to be tipped by 1, so straight up drive. It's a bit like this. Sometimes they'll say pick up like 10, deliver by 1, but you can't promise you're going to get there for 1. All you can promise is you're going to go direct and you're going to get there ASAP. So it's a bit tight, but I think it's like 2 hours 40 minutes without any delays. So yeah, like yesterday's job was actually tipped by 6:30, but because of the delays I couldn't get there till just before 7. But absolutely nothing you can do about that. That's transport, isn't it? The traffic conditions and stuff. Anyway, yeah, so that was Monday. I didn't tramp here, sadly, last night. I should have done, because there's no restricted parking here, and home base next door is the same. I tried the other retail park, and that was like restricted parking where Tesco is, if anyone knows Banbury, and the one just by Tesco, that was like 3 hours maximum, both of them. And then I went to the industrial estate. I found what I thought was a quiet side road on the industrial estate. But then like 3:30, loads of cars kept driving past. So I think there's a factory down there, and they must start work at 4 o'clock. And then it just kind of woke me up at like 3:30, 4 o'clock. And then I never really got back to sleep again, so I'm pretty knackered now. So I'm going to get myself a coffee and definitely, well, tonight I definitely need to find somewhere decent to sleep, quiet, to get a proper night's sleep. Anyway, that is Monday. Right, Tuesday evening now. Yeah, so I'm in Rotherham. I've done 2 jobs today. Got another one to do later tonight, booked in. So it's going to be 3-day jobs for today. Pretty good day, really. So yeah, after I filmed that bit, went and did the pickup. On the way there was an Esso garage, which I drove past last night, and it had the forecourt was closed, a sign saying no fuel. There's people queuing up at it, so we obviously had a delivery overnight. Not too big a queue. I needed about 40 litres from full. This van's got a 110 litre tank, but it can hold a bit more than that because that's just a tank, and you obviously get a bit up to filler and stuff. So I thought, yeah, 40 litres I'll top up, but again, I'm saying a curry driver, I feel fine about topping up because he's just got to get diesel where I can to keep earning. Keep providing a service, the vital service. These are hard times to transport. Somebody's got to plug the gap, haven't they? But when I went in and I started filling up, I realised it's £30 maximum, so that equated to about 21 litres at the current prices. So anyway, it was better than nothing. Had time to do it before I went and did the pickup. Went and picked up. Big sort of food factory place. And it was 1 pallet, 1 tonne, or 1 tonne plus the pallet. So just over a tonne. It's never great, really. I never like to go, definitely really don't like going any more than a tonne-ish per 1 pallet, even though I can hold more in that in total because it's hard to get the weight right. And it's quite a tall pallet. So I got the forky to load it, put it in, and basically push it as far in as he could with the forks to get it sort of to the back of the pallet in line with the sort of rear wheels. That's the good thing about this van, is the wheels are really near the back. Whereas if you've got something like a Transit Jumbo and you load it on the back, it's like behind the rear axle, which is obviously a really bad thing. But at least you can get it, in terms of axle weights, get it pushed as far forward as you can. Quick load, pretty sound guy there. Nice drive up to Grimsby. It was saying 152 miles is what I quoted on, but I think the way I went, it took 5 minutes longer, and it was 136 miles, something like that. I got 150 quid for the job, and I was in Banbury anyway, so yeah, it turned out good pounds. Yeah, it's over £1 a mile. All miles on a long job, but it was going to Grimsby. Not a great place, but I was there the other week, and there seems to be plenty of jobs bringing up. Got it tipped. Another foodish factory, something to do with seafood. This one didn't go great. This one, bit of damage to the van. More, I have to say, numpty forklift truck drivers. I don't seem to be getting on with the one in the morning. Was sound, yeah, but the guy in the afternoon, because I'd pushed it on so far, I said to him, you know, I'll call you in like as close as you can to the bumper and see if we can get the end of the forks just under the pallet, so we could lift it and drag it back. And that went well, because what I do in this 1 pallet, especially a heavy one, I've got this piece of old packaging which is like kind of like half plastic, half cardboard, white thing, and I put that on the floor at the front of the pallet, so when I lift the back up it slides easier, so it's not wood on wood. So yeah, managed to get it, pull it back fine, took it back to close to the back doors, but not all the way, like thing, dropped it down. I think, why did I just keep going until it's sticking out past the edge of the van, but edge of the bumper, and just come in and get it. But anyway, dropped it, so then he went back in, lifted it up, but he didn't lift it up, he just dragged it back, and it resulted in this. Have a look at this. Yeah, so with a forklift, he went in. Well, first of all, even though he managed to not hit the bumper with a mast, and I was saying, coming, stop, he just kept going and hit the bumper with a mast with a forklift, which is, you know, seems to happen all the time, even though you tell him. The guy just wasn't listening. But he didn't hit it that hard. It's been hit a lot harder than that, and stayed in one piece. But then he lifted it, but he didn't really lift it. He just took the weight of it and then started to go backwards. I could see what he was doing. So I said to him, no, stop, mate. You need to lift it higher. He just kept going back. And because that little metal strip sticks up like whatever thickness it is, like 3 or 4 millimeters, he just caught it on that side and tore it back and bent it. He just, like, it kind of really annoys me. This guy, I think he was just a bit, I don't know, not really with it. Didn't really say much, and I was like, mate, stop, you're damaging my van. Yelling at him pretty much then. You need to lift it up before you pull it out anymore. You did that, got it out. I said, mate, you just need to listen, you just damaged my van because you didn't lift it up high enough, and I told you to stop. And he didn't say sorry or anything like that. He just seemed like he just didn't want to acknowledge that he damaged my van because, he might get in trouble. So he kind of annoyed me, but I wasn't going to kick up a fuss and say, oh, you damaged my van, I need to see your management and stuff like that. Because I've heard of people in the past, forklift drivers pulling off their side, or catching the side, loading door and bending it and causing major damage and stuff. But something like this, I just thought I'll just have to take it off later today, which is what I've done. And some point, probably over the weekend, it's another job to do. I'm going to have to try and straighten it and put it back on, or just do without it, to be honest. See how I get on. That kind of annoyed me. Again, it's just, just listen, you know what I mean? You're there to assist and help, and anyway, got that one done, parked up outside. It's actually really quiet, Grimsby area, so 30 miles from Grimsby. There's a few jobs pinging up, probably just over an hour before I got my next job. And in that time, the job I got was a third job that I'd pinged up for the same day for today. There's a few jobs for tomorrow. Obviously, 150 quid. I'm not looking to get a job for tomorrow yet. I need to earn more today. The job I got was some Scunthorpe, which I was like 30 odd miles from, and it was going to 32 miles from going to Rotherham, where I am now, 35 miles. Priced at 85 pence a mile straight through, and it came out at like 57 quid. So I thought, right, just go 55 quid. It's a small van job, 35 miles, and I thought, it would get me towards East Yorkshire kind of thing. Rotherham, Sheffield, Doncaster, good place. Got the job, came through without a phone call. On the way there, the shipper rang me to ask, what my ETA was and stuff. And also asked me what van I was in. I said, I'm in a long wheelbase. And I went, all right, okay, great. Turned up, loaded really quick. It was 3 lengths sort of metal panels, apparently for roller shutters. Big factory that makes them. And these would never have gone in a small van. But anyway, happy with the job anyway, and the price of quoted. Got loaded over to unit just behind where you are now, and tipped them pretty sharpish. And that was that job. So it's done by about 4:30 here. Bid on a few jobs. There's one job going to North Wales, Bangor, and I thought if I get that, I quoted it from here, 10 miles to collect it, all the way through to Bangor, drop it in the morning, and I also quoted it, my minimum miles, 85 pence a mile. It's a short wheelbase job back to sort of like North East Wales, Broughton, D-side. I thought I might get it because nobody's going to want to do that, or very unlikely to want to do that, especially on an overnighter. But I could have stayed at my parents', being hotel of mum and dad job. But I went in at 170, which was 85 pence a mile for that whole journey. He reposted it, went 165. He reposted it. I thought, right, I go to 160, and that's it. So I quoted 160. My bid was still on there, but then another job pinged up for tonight, collecting 8 miles from me, where I am now, 9 o'clock, going down to Coventry, an hour and 20-minute drive. So I thought, this one, quoted this one 95 quid, and I think it's 91 miles all in. The guy rang me up straight away and gave me it. So I've got that to do tonight. And he goes, sometimes you can tell by their wording, I think he's glad, because he goes, oh, you still available for that job you very kindly quoted on? And I'm thinking, very kindly, I must have gone in too cheap. But for me, I was on £205 so far today. So that's below target, not a great day. 95 quid gets up to 300 quid, which is a good day. Started late today. if I had a better day, I probably would have priced that job higher if I wasn't too fussed about doing it. But because I've not made target yet today, probably going to be a 4-day week, I thought, don't take the mickey kind of thing. Go price I'm happy with, but not like speculative. So I've got that to do today. Gonna have some lunch, probably Chinese, lunch, tea, dinner before then, Chinese probably. Get that done and get my head down as soon as I can when I get the tip done in Coventry. Right, Wednesday, mid-afternoon, another daylight update, or update in daylight. So yeah, which means, as usual, I'm killing time waiting for a collection. So yeah, that job last night, well, before the job, went to a Chinese. Had something quite different for a change. Pad Thai, because I was only one in the restaurant in the takeaway, and I saw nothing says Pad Thai rice noodles as opposed to like normal noodles that use wheat and stuff. So I thought, oh, maybe I can have them. So I asked them, and they said there was no wheat in them. So I had chicken Pad Thai, which was a nice change. So I'll have to have a bit more of that going forward, I think. I've not had Pad Thai since years and years ago, when I was actually in Thailand. And at them days I used to eat, didn't know I was celiac or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I went and picked up that job. It was one pallet of newspapers, really quick load and tip. I wasn't picked up till 9 in the notes, but I just turned up at 8:30, thought I'd chance it. And it was, yeah, ready. So yeah, loaded me straight away, got the other side, tipped straight away. Quite impressive printers, like a big printers. I always think of printers that print newspapers and magazines. You kind of think it's going to be a bit of a dying industry because less people read newspapers these days and magazines because they're obviously online and stuff and on their phones. But no, this place looked really modern, really tidy. So that was pretty good. Got it tipped before 11, maybe like 20 to 11, but a bit of a faff trying to find somewhere decent to park up for the night. Eventually parked up opposite a Lidl. Couldn't park in a Lidl because it was restricted, 90 minutes max. So opposite, just down the road outside it, right next to a truck. So just spot the trucks often. And there was enough room for me there, just about. And I decided just to bang my earplugs in, because I think that's the problem I've been having lately, not sleeping so well, is it's just noisy, because any kind of noise, you can probably hear now, I'm parked by the side of the road. You know what it's like in a van, there's no sound deadening at all. When you're in the back, you pretty much hear everything. So I think going forward, I'm just going to have to just stick my earplugs in routinely. Decent night's sleep, bit late getting up this morning. Didn't get out of bed until 8:30, believe it, but I was knackered a bit from the previous night, not sleeping so well. Started looking for jobs 8:45, maybe 10 to 9. Got a job just after 9. One of the first jobs, well, the first job I bid on, it was actually going from Banbury, and I was in South Coventry, so back to Banbury again this week, to Bristol. When I say Bristol, it was actually Yate, which is just to the north of Bristol, and I quoted it £85 a mile including getting there, and it was a short wheelbase job. It was 90 miles loaded, and getting there, with the getting there miles at 85 a mile all in, it was £105, which I knew was quite high kind of thing. And then the shipper rings me and says, oh, it's just a courtesy call at the moment, we only really got a budget of £90 on that job. I says, yeah, I can't do it for that. And then, yeah, fair enough, end of conversation. All polite and amicable. It's just, you've got to find a price that suits both of you, and we couldn't in that case. And then, watching the feed, about 5 minutes later, the phone goes again. I thought, who could that be? Because I haven't actually bid on another job yet. But no, it's the same shipper about the same job, but a different person from the shipper. And he says, oh yeah, look at it for you, blah, blah, blah. We actually got 6 quotes cheaper. Could you do it for 95? And I thought, I don't know. Are they just saying that they've got loads of quotes when they haven't? Or I thought, well, I can't do it for 95, still too cheap. As I said to him, in a long wheelbase van, and I'm quite far from it. I'm actually 40 minutes away in Coventry. Says I can do it for 100. He hummed and hawed a bit, and then he looked at it and he did say, oh, I can see you know what you're doing, good feedback and stuff. Okay, yeah, we'll go with 100. So got the job. So, because I've been on there a while now on the CX, my feedback is definitely starting to work in my favour. You just kind of got to get through that when you start. You are going to be at a disadvantage. So I've been on there 18 months now. I had a bit of a milestone in terms of feedback this week. I had my 200th positive feedback. It's all been positive so far, no neutrals or no negatives. So yeah, that's a bit of a milestone, bit of something to celebrate. And it does make a big difference. So in that 18 months, I went off for 10 weeks into Deodal, which was nothing to do with the CX, didn't get off the CX, and then I did 6 weeks of government food deliveries in the first lockdown to people who were shielding. That was off the CX, the job I got off the CX, but it was like one job to cover a whole week's work, so I didn't get much opportunity for feedback and that. And then I did 4 weeks at UPS in Tamworth before Christmas, and again it was a similar. Even though it was off CX, there wasn't many jobs, so there's not a lot of chance for feedback. So yeah, anyway, yeah, got it up to 200 now, it's pretty good. And then when I got down here and tipped at about 12:30, had my lunch, there was not many jobs bringing up in Bristol. I was pretty shocked how quiet it was, because for me, Bristol isn't that busy for the size of the place and the amount of like industrial estates around. Like nowhere near the same as like the West Midlands, or you know, the Northwest or Yorkshire, the Northern Belt as I call it. For the size of the place, been on 3 or 4 jobs over like 2-hour period, didn't get anything. I was being slightly selective. I wasn't going for like local jobs. Only done 100 quid so far today. Needs a decent job for the next one. But then eventually a job pinged up. I've been looking for just over 2 hours, I think, going from Swindon to Pontefract, but it's not picking up till 5:30 tonight, and it's delivering between 9 and 9:30 in the morning. And I thought I'll go for that, because if I get it, it'll be for decent money. So I quoted it. It's 187 miles loaded, which was pretty much 85 pence a mile including getting there. So I quoted 187. Got the job. He actually said he'll round it up to 190, which is the job I'm killing time before I'm going to get now. It's like 4 o'clock now. I have quite a bit of time to kill. I can stop at home tonight. And actually going home means I'm going to cut through the Midlands rather than going on the M42. So it actually makes it's going to work out what 90 pence a mile is job. So yeah, that's pretty good. Then I'll get it tipped, first thing in the morning. I'll count that as today's job. So that'll be 100 for the mid-morning job and 190 for today for this job coming. So 290 for today. So that'll be the update for today. Just got to get this job done now. Stop at home, get showered and stuff, and have a home-cooked meal. Right, late Thursday afternoon now. So yeah, this morning that job which I had on board was delivered between 9 and 9:30. So I was kind of hoping to get there slightly early. Probably would have been alright doing that, but for a few reasons, partly because I left the house slightly late, no surprise there, or later than ideal. And then the traffic, there was a bit of traffic on the A38, sort of around Derby way. So I didn't get there till 9:20. Little bit of a wait to tip, just because there was a guy delivering some gas bottles. But yeah, like only 20 minutes, so all in really. So I was done by 20 to 10. Some flooring place. I think they do fancy flooring, and I don't know. This stuff I took up was like a printed roll, so I don't really know what. Couldn't really work out what it was, because it was in a roll and there was one other package, floppy package that's quite long, and it wrapped up, so I couldn't see what it was. Yes, pulled outside, good spot to be. Pontefract, sort of Leeds, pretty close to Leeds and stuff. Got a job by 10. Job pinged up from, it was a Leeds postcode. It wasn't inside like the big city, it was more like a small town on the outskirts. LS25, it was something in Elm or something. Anyway, yeah. Got a job from there. It was 167 miles, long wheelbase. I wasn't that far from it. I worked out at 85, my usual 85 pence a mile, including getting there, and it came out as 158, so we're on up to 160. Got the job. Went and picked it up with one or two vans. When I got there, I was the first van to get there, and it was apparently a big TV display. You know, like if you go to a big concert or something, it might have big screens. So most of the screens broken down into little screens apparently, and there's loads of boxes, like flight cases. So I took 7 flight cases, and then big like aluminium frame stanchion sections of that. So I took half of it, and the other guy took the other half, because apparently it's 1.6 tons this whole thing. So yeah, that's quite nice. The chap in the other van helped me load. Obviously it helps him. Sooner I get loaded, sooner he gets loaded. Drove down here, got here just before him again. Even though I did stop at the services to use the toilet and that, I did wonder if he'd get there before me. But literally I was like just in front of him again. He helped me unload again. Went to some, it's actually UCAS, who are like the university's admissions people, aren't they? And they're doing apparently doing a big fair in London Excel, and that's what it's going to be used for. And that's UK headquarters down there, Cheltenham. Did I say that? Cheltenham. The guy helped me unload again, so he could unload quicker as well. So I did actually, after this one, park up, because there's only one guy helping load at the place, unload, and it's quite heavy stuff. I did park up and then go and help him unload with the guy from the place, so it's make it a bit easier. Seems only fair really. He's helped me go and help him out. Quite interesting, he had the similar van to this, but an older version, the 2013 Movano. So the Vauxhall Movano is the same as this Nissan MV400, and they're both basically Renault Renault Masters that had just been rebadged. This is a 2013 plate, and it was red. I didn't notice it at first, but what he said it was an ex-fire brigade van. Yeah, like the fire brigade mechanics, which is one of my mates back home. That's what he does. So, well, he used to do it before he got sacked from them, actually. But anyway, I was thinking probably a good van, because they don't do a massive amount of miles, because they just used to drive to breakdowns when he needed to. Drive sometimes out from the maintenance depot to the fire stations and service them there and that, but I can't imagine them vans do a massive amount of miles really. So probably a good kind of van to aim for if you're going for a second-hand van, and are very well maintained. They maintain them themselves, so yeah, they look after them. And he had these really good wheel arch covers, which I've never seen before, because it's obviously been racked out with tools and stuff in the past. They were checker plate wheel arch covers. Pretty good actually. Anyway, yeah, so got that tipped just about 2:30 maybe, so that's probably like a 4.5 hour job for 160 quid, because it was, you know, dual carriageway on motorway all the way, and there was no hold-ups whatsoever. So that's where the long jobs really pay well, pounds per hour. So like 160 quid plus the VAT for like 4.5 hours work from getting it to tipping it. So that's a good job. That's where the longer jobs really can pay off. Parked up around the corner. There's a couple of jobs on there. One I bid on. It's going towards Birmingham. I left it on there for 10 minutes. Nothing, so I rang them and he said, "Oh, sorry, that's sold. I should have removed it." So it's like a ghost job, really. The other one was with a shipper on the big nationals, and it was quite far away to pick up, 34 miles away. Was it 33 miles in Redditch? But it was going to Birmingham B6, and it was only, like I said, like 29 miles loaded. So I quoted 60 quid initially, and I thought that's a bit rich really. After I did it, I thought, you know, it's going to get me closer to home. Could have been more competitive there. but then they reposted it, so obviously not happy to give it to me at 60 quid. So I looked at it again and I thought, I'll go in at 50 quid and get it for that. I'll be happy to do it. Got the job, they rang me up, and then it's the line I quite often try shippers. If you can do it for 40 quid, or can you do it for 40 quid, and I'll send it through straight away. I never get this straight away thing, because if you get it, I was going to send it straight away. You know what I mean? So I just said to her, I said, no, sorry, I can't go that low. I'm actually all the way in Cheltenham, which is why it's 50 minutes to get there. It wasn't picking up till 4:30. There's plenty of time to get there, but also dead dish time. I just said to her, sorry, I can't, because it's quite far for me and just doesn't stack up at any less than 50 quid. And then she says, all right, I'll just send it through, which she did. So yeah, it was actually an hour's drive to Redditch, so I probably got there at 4, parked up outside, killed a quarter of an hour. But again, it was like yesterday. I think if I just turned up at 4, they would have been ready for me. Went at 4:15, got loaded. Things with this one, it was 3 euro pallets, and the place makes hydraulic manifold blocks, which are basically, I know from my old previous life in engineering and stuff, working in engineering, mechanical engineer and reliability engineer, they're just normally solid chunks of metal. The ones I've always come across are like solid steel, and there's 3 euro pallets. They weren't stacked high, they were only probably a foot tall, plus the pallet. But I was thinking, if that's all chunks of steel, it's a good chance that's going to be really heavy. So I asked him, how old is it? How heavy is it? And he's like, the guy on the shop floor was like, oh, I don't know, not a clue. We really wouldn't know about that kind of stuff. And I was like, all right, well, you should know, really, because you'll know how much metal's in each one, and you can work it out. That's what I was thinking. Didn't say that to him, but because I'll have to go and ask the foreman or whatever. And he went, and the guy comes out, says, oh yeah, it's probably about 600 to 700 kilograms, somewhere in that range, because there's a lot of aluminium parts in there. And I was like, all right, yeah. Loaded them on. Definitely more than 600 to 700 kilograms. It's one of these, you know. Because it's 3 pallets, the weight was quite well distributed, but I think the heaviest one I put on was the last one I put on. So the back end felt heavy, too heavy. There was a bit of a squish on the tyres. It's just a place like engineering, they'll know how much steel or how much alloys in each block, because they machined from solid blocks. They should easily be able to work out, you know, how much each one weighs and how many there are of each, and work out a total weight. So that was a bit dodgy, that one. I reckon it was at least a ton. Wouldn't surprise me if I was overweight on that job. But if they don't tell you, or they tell you just verbally something low, it's kind of a bit miffed about that one, really. But might be imagining it. But anyway, that was a job. So 50 quid for that, 160 for the first one, for 210. The job I dropped this morning, I counted yesterday's job. So been a really good 4 days on the run. That is my last day on the run this week. I'm having tomorrow off because I'm going to a wedding on Saturday, and want to have tomorrow off just to rest. And we'll try and go for a bike ride in the afternoon, get some exercise in, and I want to change the oil on the van in the morning, do a few other little errands. Yes, it's been a good week. I reckon I'm over 250 a day on average, probably somewhere around the 260 mark, and I reckon I'm like well over 90 pence a mile in terms of all mileage. So that's the end of the on the run bit. So just a summary to come, which I'll film tomorrow, but for you will be in just a sec. Right, summary time. Late morning on a Friday, so yeah, should hopefully get this video up pretty early this week. Last week, if you noticed, if you tend to watch them every week, which if you do, fair play, thank you. I was a bit late loading it because for some reason I just forgot Sunday. I got it all done, ready to upload, and then just totally forgot until Monday morning, and it was too late to upload. When I got back during the week, I uploaded it. So anyway, this week it's been a pretty good week, really. Just the 4 days. My plan was ideally to have Friday off today, which I'm doing. If I do decent money, and I did do decent money, so I'm having today off to do some things. The engine's running on the van, if you can hear it. That's because I'm about to change the oil. I've been for a drive to get the oil and stuff, but I thought I'd leave it ticking over, make sure it's proper warm, so I didn't have to go far to get the oil. Yeah, so 4 days on the run, 3 days in a van, or 3 nights out, that means, or 3 nights. 4 days is 3 nights. One of them nights, the Wednesday, I stayed at home, so 2 nights in the van. So Monday, Tuesday in the van, Wednesday at home. So straight into the numbers. Monday, 2 jobs, 130 and 128, which is 258 for the day. Tuesday, best day of the week, 150, 55 and 95, 300. That comes to Wednesday, 2 jobs, 100 and 190. That's 290 for the Wednesday. And Thursday, 2 jobs, 160 and 50, 210. So which is slightly low, but it got me home. So the day I'm trying to get home, it's normally harder to do the kind of money I normally do. Occasionally I do still have a good day. And then Friday, I say day off today. Total, that comes to 1,058. And per day, that's £264.50 per day. So that's plus VAT. And as I mentioned before, for every £100, for every £10 of VAT I charge, or is charged, I get to keep £4 of it, and VAT is 20%. So every £100 I earn without the VAT, I also get an extra £8 income. I do treat it as income takings, because that's the taxman does. So once I've added that and then taken off my fixed costs, which is £20 a day or £80 for the 4 days, and then it's 30p a mile or variable costs, so fuel, depreciation, servicing, all that kind of tyres, all that jazz. That's 30p a mile, so 30p times the mileage. So the mileage this week was 1,129 miles. Kind of got ahead of myself here. So yeah, the actual pence per mile, all loaded miles, all miles this week, loaded and unloaded, 93.7 from Monday morning to Thursday afternoon. Yeah, so anyway, no additional costs this week, no tolls or anything. So basically my pre-tax earnings are roughly about £725 for the 4 days, which is £180 a day, probably averaged, I'd say, I seem to be averaging now, so actually working time, so I'm away from home, so can't really count it all, like when I'm sleeping, I'm not working in the evening when I'm just watching stuff on YouTube, that's not working. Actual working time from when I start in the morning to finish at night, it's kind of working out £16 to £18 an hour, I would say, the last few months. But obviously to earn it I need to be away and sacrifice being away from home during the week, and, you know, tramp in the van, which isn't ideal, but with a heater and the right stuff, I don't find it too bad. So that's the week in numbers and stuff. Things about this week's obviously the fuel shortage. I found towards the end of the week it's getting a lot better. Have a look at every petrol station I drive past, I'm seeing quite a few, you know, just open, all the pumps seem to be open, and there's not much of a queue, if any queue in some of them. I've just filled up ready for Monday while I was getting my oil. Something I noticed this week, and I've not mentioned before, I have noticed this week a bit, is like the lunchtime lull. So I think that the amount of jobs posted on the CX goes down from about midday to about 2 o'clock. For sure, it definitely does. I noticed that this week when I was down in sort of the southwest Bristol, sort of Cheltenham way, which isn't a mad busy area anyway, so it seemed to be more noticeable. So just thought I'd mention that. Interested if anyone else recognises that, or if you're on the CX. And the other thing is, I want to mention this week, as I mentioned earlier, I had a bit of a milestone in terms of my feedback. So I've gone over 200 now, so I had my 200th, I think I'm on 203 now by the end of the week, and about 42, that's all time since I started, and about 42 in the last 90 days. So that's slowly eking up, because it went down to very low early part of the year because I was struggling to get jobs. The less jobs you do, the less chance you get to get feedback. And yeah, it does make a difference for sure. If you're starting out, you just kind of got to knuckle down the first 12 months, I'd say, until you get some good feedback, and then your CX number isn't one of the very newest, because you can tell by your CX number how long you've been on there, or shippers can, because they get to know, obviously. And that's it for the week, really. Thanks for watching. Change your oil in the van now, edit this later and get it up at some point. If you guys have any comments, please put them below for myself or anyone else who watches this. Cheers for watching.